Hello there. I'll start this video with a fact, not an opinion, a fact. Amon Amarth is one of the best bands in the world. And now that we have that established, let's see how I built this piece behind me. But as you can see, I am a bit of a fanboy. I'm using a maple slab for this, and this piece was kind of interesting. So the moment I saw it, I knew what I wanted to do with it. But it was in a rough shape, and it is a very weirdly shaped piece as well, so couldn't really do anything in terms of actual furniture building. It had some mold on it or rot. It was very soft in some spots. But to this application, I think it was actually the perfect piece I could ever find. So due to it having some rotten pieces and mold in it, it was very cheap. So then I had one decision to make on whether I will take out all the soft parts, fill them with epoxy, maybe with black, whatever. And it could have been fine, but I decided to try something I've never done, which is adding epoxy without removing the wood. So here I'm just taping the background to make it ready for the epoxy. So then I mixed my two-part epoxy, and this is kind of fast drying one because I don't need to worry about bubbles or anything. But I decided to use a bit of acetone to make it less viscous, because the point here is I want the wood and the soft parts to really absorb and harden the wood. So roughly 10% of the total volume of acetone made it very nice, so that it's thin and it goes to all the small cracks and holes and lets the wood to absorb it. And this was a thirsty piece. It took a lot of this stuff. So basically what I did, I added some, then I waited for a while, then I added more, until the wood was completely saturated and it just didn't accept anymore. So what this did is that this really hardened the wood, and I was still able to keep it looking like wood without removing it. Then I was debating with myself, will I keep the bark or not? But then I figured that as this will be on top of my bed, I will be sleeping under it. In case at some point in future this bark decides to get off on its own, I felt like I don't want to eat bark while I'm sleeping, so I decided to remove it. And I used everything I got, chisels and hammer and sander and all kinds of various things to remove the bark. And then at the end I also used the nylon wheel to get the final layer off. So basically the idea here was just to clean up the wood for making it ready for the next steps. Now the way I decided to do this logo, I just printed the logo on a piece of paper, taped them together, and then I just put it in a place where I wanted to put it, and I used carpet tape to attach it to the maple slab. So you will soon see the technique I decided to use here. There's multiple ways this can be achieved, but I don't have a CNC, so I just decided to use my router and try some new bits I have never tried before. So this is all very new to me. I've only done something similar once, but I didn't use my router for that build. Then I was using the Dremel, which I didn't really like. It's a bit too lightweight for this kind of operation. So here I'm just attaching the papers to the slab, and here you see the bit I will use at first go. So it's this very, very fine tipped bit designed exactly for this use, and what I'm using it for here is just to get the edges as perfect as I can. And using router here is much better than using a Dremel, so I would say it's 10 times better end result than what I got in my first attempt at this, which I did for one table earlier. And here just showing how it looks like from my eyes. The visibility is not perfect, but having this contrast of the white paper and the black logo made the process quite easy. I really like the bit as well. It was very stable, it didn't wander off. So this wasn't really hard, but obviously I needed to focus all the time to make the edges as perfect as possible. But overall I think this only took like probably less than an hour to get everything done to this point. Now then I changed to a different bit which I will use to remove all the rest of the material. So the first one was just to get the edges, and then I decided to remove the tape for a few reasons. Main reason is that I found out that the carpet tape started to get off and then it stuck on the router, and things became a bit annoying and even uneven as the result. So after removing the tape, I still wanted the contrast so that I know which parts I need to route out. So I just decided to use my black marker to color the areas I will be removing. But as mentioned, the reason is so that I could get rid of the paper so that the carpet tape wouldn't get stuck on my router. So again, technically not very difficult, but focus needed, so I wanted to make sure that I get it as perfect as I can. And I am pretty happy with how it turned out. So if I ever build anything like this, I will surely use the same technique. And originally my idea was that I would fill this with black epoxy, but then I started thinking that I will use a flame to burn the black color into the logo that I want. And it does two things. First of all, I like that it leaves this surface so that it's not even, so it has this carved out section easily visible. And I also like the effect how it made the wood look. So I think I will be using this technique as well in future, because it was easy, it was cheap, and the end result is a bit more unique than it would be if I would just fill it in with black epoxy like I did with the table build where I did something similar earlier. So here just a bit of footage how it looked like, but as mentioned, fairly happy with the end result. And I actually like the color it leaves, the white color to the edge, because that actually resembles how Amon Amarth logo usually is done. So it's not only one color, it has this different color line usually. But after that, then I gave it a quick sanding just to get rid of some of the burn marks that were left after my operation. And then basically only one thing left was to apply oil to it. And I didn't want to use any expensive oil because this will be hanging on the wall. This doesn't really get used as a table wood, for example. So I just took mineral oil that I had on my shelf. Cheap stuff, very good, but the only point here is to make the grain pop and make it look a bit more nice. So that's why I didn't want to use Rubio or any more expensive oils. Mineral oil for this application was just perfect, and as mentioned, I had it on my shelf, so I didn't need to buy anything. And with that, it's basically complete. Then obviously I needed to figure out how will I attach it to the wall. And I had a few options. I could have used multiple different fasteners or techniques, but I decided to go with a simple one, and the one I think will be very sturdy. So French cleat, which I attached to 3 studs on my wall, and obviously there's the other piece that I attached to the maple slab. And then it is as easy as just dropping it there and it's done. So I am very happy how this turned out. Some of my friends have commented that maybe my fanboy attitude towards these bands is a bit too much. But I mean, this just makes me smile whenever I enter my bedroom now, so I'm super happy, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And with my bedroom, there's only one wall left to be done, and then I'm completely done with it. So thanks for watching.